If I just go directly with the subconscious mind, that's the core. That's where it starts.
100%, because it doesn't matter what happens to us so much. It's our interpretation of ourself, the world, and other people that has a huge impact.
But there's a way that you can trick your mind into healing.
Well, when you can disassociate from the surroundings, being no place, nowhere, nobody, and no time, become nothing. In fact,
why is it important to get to a quiet, relaxed state and then you impregnate all the good stuff?
I worked with a woman who's a wonderful oral surgeon, but she never felt comfortable asking for money. But the father said something that was unkind to her, so she thought, I'm not worthy. And she carried that with her through her entire adult life. I said, dollar-wise, what's it worth to you to be able to ask for what you're worth? She says, I'm making about an extra $10,000 a month.
How do you identify somebody that has a block, financial block, and not allowing money to come to them? Welcome to Make Things Happen with Diana Pagano. I came from struggle, living life on survival mode, and later found myself living in that same vicious cycle. Life is meant to be so much more than settling. Are you ready to stop dreaming for what could be and turn those dreams into reality? I thought so. Well, get ready to live life on your terms. Hello and welcome to Make Things Happen podcast with Diana Pagano. Today I have a very special guest, Dr. Tara Perry. After 23 years in clinical practice helping celebrities, doctors, first responders, business owners, and people likely like you and I, she found the most efficient way in helping people to resolve their biggest problems by working directly with the subconscious mind. And this is why I'm so obsessed with the work that she's doing, because she's speaking my language and even more. Welcome, Dr. Perry.
So great to see you, Diana.
Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Well, you and I are buddies, and it's just an honor to be on your show.
I know. It was crazy how we met through a mutual friend, and it's amazing how the world works. And I often talk about this: when you are in alignment with whatever it is, your journey, and you're having this, attraction, and like attracts like. And it was just so awesome to get to know you. And then later, I even had you help me on some things that I was working with, physical shoulder pain. And, even just like being in your 40s, you get so hormonal and there's so many things that gets uncovered. But it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, this episode is for you. So without further ado, you have been helping people for, God, over a decade with this newfound even before this newfound knowledge of working directly with the subconscious mind. Tell me what led you to get started in this work.
For 23 years, I did acupuncture and nutritional medicine. I taught at UCLA and the #1 acupuncture school in Los Angeles. And it was great because I was able to help people with stroke sequela, meaning what the after effects of stroke, paralysis, headaches, migraines, back pain, neck pain, all kinds of issues. Even anti-aging, it's great for that. But I found that by going directly to the subconscious mind, people are able to shed so much so quickly. And that can be physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, even just, their life direction. We get, as you know, Diana, because you're another Dr. Richard Bandler proponent.
Yes.
We get programming stuck in our minds that we're not even aware of. It's subconscious. That means below the level of our consciousness. So how do you fix a problem that you're not even aware of?
It's unbelievable. I love that you mentioned Richard Bandler. That's I feel like those wisdom and toolkits that we've been so honored to learn and with how the mind works, and you're even certified in hypnosis. People think, what's hypnosis? That's a little creepy. I mean, I've been doing hypnosis on my children since they were little kids, even my 2 older ones. And I didn't even realize what hypnosis was back then. It was more, I called it guided meditation because it's a little not as creepy, right? But what you tell your mind is what will dictate a lot of what you attract. And it's so much deeper than that with the work that you do, Dr. Perry. But, you've even helped people back in the day, like, Florence Henderson from the Brady Bunch, the world's favorite mom. I didn't even know that about you until today. So I'm like, wait, it's amazing. But talk about attraction and attracting what you want and rewiring. And I feel like there's so many aspects to how do we change our life? You found, having the background that you have in your clinical background, and you've already been in helping people, but then you founded this new thing about, wait, if I just go directly with the subconscious mind, that's the core. That's where it starts, right?
100%, because it doesn't matter what happens to us so much. It's our interpretation of ourself, the world, and other people that has a huge impact. And you know, because you help people with success all the time, it's who
Hmm.
we believe we are. And that's usually baked in somewhere between the ages of 2 and 10 in childhood. But again, it's below the level of our consciousness. It's like a rider on an elephant. If the rider wants to go in one direction, I want to be successful. I want to achieve things. I want to have a fit body. I want to eat right. But the elephant's going, heck no, I want to go in that direction. I want comfort food. I want to, kick back and enjoy myself this afternoon. Whatever the elephant wants, the elephant's going to get. So
Right.
once you get that elephant going in the direction that you want, everything can change in your life so much faster. And what blew me away is that it even affects physical things. For instance, I had a man who had spine pain from 40 years ago. He got in a motorcycle accident and he was all excited when he found out I was an acupuncturist. But I said, you've done acupuncture, you've done chiropractic. Why don't we go to Command Central here, which is your
Mm.
subconscious mind? And literally in 2 sessions, he didn't have the pain anymore.
Wow. We've seen studies that with people having pain, they have found research that when you are tapping into your mind about not having pain, people think, oh, that's delusional. I have pain. But there's a way that you can trick your mind into healing. And it sounds funny that we're saying trick your mind because that's what's governing. It's so much deeper than that, right? Like I feel like it's like hard to swallow for some people that I've single-handedly said you can change that around if you want. What are you feeding your mind? And I'm not saying that things aren't painful, whether it's emotional pain, whether it's physical pain, that could still happen.
Well, John Sarno wrote a book called Healing Back Pain, and he very much captured, he was an orthopedic surgeon, captured the link between stress and back pain. So if you can remove the stress that you are subconsciously carrying around in your subconscious mind, then all of a sudden you have much more energy available for healing. And that goes for neck pain. It can work for headaches and migraines. In fact, I've found very few cases of headaches and migraines that haven't responded. And that's not to say there aren't other components, and you have to look at those, such as is your diet way out of whack? Are there certain other things way out of whack? But if you've dealt with all those things and you still have the issue, it very often is the subconscious that's playing the major role.
Absolutely. And where would people start if they said, I've been that elephant where I want something, but then the inner stories in my head are telling me other things. Maybe there's resistance. How would they get started?
Well, as in your world, it really helps when you're working one-on-one with somebody who knows the lay of the land. You can do all the DIY stuff, the YouTube channels, the books, the seminars, and there is great benefit in that for many people. But if you want the fastest change, if you can work with somebody that knows how to guide somebody through their subconscious mind, that's, in my opinion, the fastest. So people can reach out to me. They can set up a time to talk to me. Consulttarot.com is my website. There are ways to start gaining awareness as to what's going on there. For example, you might ask yourself key questions about what it was like growing up. What did you have to do to be accepted? What did you have to do to feel safe? And when you answer those questions, you can start to be aware of what the child in you wants and needs. You're
Mm.
a grown up on the outside, but on the inside, there's still a little child in there. And I've seen it make such a difference in so many people's lives. For example, I worked with a woman who's a wonderful oral surgeon, but she never felt comfortable asking for money.
Mm.
We just went back to the root of it. It turned out that when she was doing homework with her sister, and her sister was even smarter than she is, and that's saying a lot. But the father said something that was unkind to her, so she thought, I'm not worthy. And she carried that with her through her entire adult life. All we did was go back, discover it, rewire it. I called her up in a month. I said, hey, how's it going? She says, oh my God, I go home with more energy. I'm a better wife. I'm a better mother. I said, dollar wise, what's it worth to you to be able to ask for what you're worth? She says, I'm making about an extra $10,000 a month.
Amazing. So that's a great point because it's, you help people with emotional pain, which does translate into other areas of our life, physical pain, which kind of intertwines even with both, right? And then you mentioned this example of somebody that had a hard time asking for money. So what's the relationship with money? When you mentioned, it comes from a belief. It could be in our childhood. Like, how do you identify somebody that has a block, financial block, and not allowing money to come to them?
So As you know, there's four brainwave states, alpha, beta, delta, theta. We're in beta right now, so we're aware of all kinds of things. This
Hmm.
is how nature wants us to be most of the time, very aware of our surroundings, what's going on.
Right.
But when you drop down into a beta state or a light theta state, you have much better access to your subconscious mind. So
Mm.
instead of connecting with that part of you that's only processing 30 bits of information per second, which is like listening to three people have a conversation, you now have access to 30 million bits of information.
How do you
Huge
drop to
difference.
that level?
So it's just really standard relaxation things. It's not rocket science. I give people a relaxation tape to practice with. There is a little technique where you look up with your eyes, not your whole head, just your eyes, and you take three breaths. And on the third breath, you allow your eyelids to gently drop down. You notice they're fluttering a little bit. That's just an easy way to drop into rapid eye movement, and it's that more suggestible state. But people, as you said, they don't understand what hypnosis is. It's not, you're
Mm.
not drooling on the floor, your legs aren't going numb. It's just a relaxed state. You could even call it a relaxed conversation. So, with just a very simple technique of dropping in, having somebody guide you to that relaxed state, it's not rocket science. The talent and the skill comes in when it comes to going back to the inciting cause, finding out what the pattern is that that person adopted, the story that they adopted, and then getting the subconscious mind, that big elephant, to stop going in the direction that you don't want and start going in the direction that you do want.
Now, would that be another form of meditation? Like, what is your definition of like what makes meditation different? Because there's different ways of meditating. There's guided meditation. There's just meditating to just calm your nervous system and get you to be in a more relaxed state. But what would you say about people saying, "Oh, that's meditation"?
Well, when you can disassociate from the surroundings, being no place, nowhere, nobody, and no time, become nothing. In fact, I'll give your listeners a gift. I have a meditation called Unzip, and it's basically just unzipping and stepping
Mm,
out of
I love
this
that.
identity that we are so identified with all day long and just go into nothing. And when you practice that and you get successful at that, you get into what's called heart and brain coherence. Heart
Mm,
Math did a great job of doing lots of pioneering work on that. And there's a lot of wonderful tools that Heart Math provides. So I do recommend those if you want to experiment with just ways of getting into that relaxed state. But the more you practice that, the more you master that,
mm.
the more you get into heart and brain coherence, the more health is available to you.
So if I'm, going into the relaxed state, for anybody listening here, if you've never done it, that's okay. It's not rocket science. Like you said, Dr. Perry, that anyone can do this. Obviously, when you're guided by a professional like Dr. Perry or any coach that really is about the mind and the subconscious, because that's the core. And just so you know, having a coach alone, that increases your performance, that increases your success. I mean, that's just studies in general. And there are so many coaches. There's business coach, there's a sales coach, there's a strategy coach. There's so many coaches out there. And I will say this, and I know I'm biased because I'm a coach and you're a coach, but I will say this, working with a coach, let's just say that you're working with a coach in your business because, I don't know, you want to change your process or your sales strategy, whatever. I always say this, and what are your thoughts with this? That's all fine and dandy. You can pay for the best training money can buy, but if you don't get your mind right, if you don't rewire the things that are not working for you, none of those trainings, none of those strategies are going to help you because you're the driver. It's like putting wheels on, yeah, you need wheels to drive. You're going on a journey. You need beautiful wheels. You need whatever. Maybe you're polishing your paint on the vehicle, but the engine, that's the motor. That's what will determine if you go, how far you really go, right?
Exactly. The goal is to become self-governed. So you're not looking to the outside world for approval,
Mm,
this, that, or the other thing, that you're self-governed. So you're more resilient. So I always say that, life is still going to happen. There's still going to be good days and bad days, but
right.
you want to be more resilient, more calm, more grounded, more aware of opportunities that are right in front of you.
Mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm.
most of us are just not taking advantage of what's right in front of us because we've got the blinders. And all of us have
Right.
blinders. I always say it's not your fault. It's just, you didn't get a manual when you were born.
Right, 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 right. And we're born with this part of our brain that its actual job, and people are like, what? What do you mean? Like the job is not to keep you happy, it's to keep you safe. And
Exactly.
so it's only going to notice things, opportunities, and and raise red flags like, oh, wait, don't do that. Unfamiliar territory, flags up, right? Imagine an X, the minute you try to work out, the minute you try to do something different that you're not used to, immediately your subconscious will try to lure you back. And so I think that you mentioned that just being aware. I think it's knowing that this is what its job is, and your job is to break the cycles if it's not serving you.
When you talk about how the brain is wired, I love the saying, our ancestors didn't survive by mistaking a rock for a bear.
True.
Our brains are wired to be frightened and to be aware because that's a survival thing. The problem is when it gets to be excessive and we're so protective and so hyper aware that we burn out, or we just get dulled to what is right in front of us that is potentially able to help us.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So yeah, so anyone listening in, when you are, I don't know, I do this when I'm falling asleep. If I'm not feeling well, I'm literally chanting these things. I get really relaxed, and then that you're about to fall asleep. That's the time. Would you say if you don't have I mean, obviously if you have a coach and you're doing sessions, that's just going to get you what you want that much faster.
Because the thing that works so well with this is after I finish working with somebody and we get that path from where they are to where they want to go when they're in that delicious, relaxed state where the answers are just so readily available, I give them a customized audio recording that they listen to as they drift off to sleep. And because you've done this.
Yes, yes.
And the brain is highly suggestible at that time. So when you have a roadmap that's become clear for you, your blueprint from where you are to where you want to go, and you can listen to that each night as you drift off to sleep, and then record the benefits that are happening each day. That's like a really wonderful platform to make the benefits that you want
You
each and
know,
every.
I love that you said that because I think what I love so much of falling asleep with something that you want to listen to, and it's really not just you. You're now like resting, and it's your unconscious mind, which is kind of creepy. Like, wait, I have two minds. You have one mind, but the front, right, is like awareness, what you mentioned earlier. And unconsciously, we have such habits that we do, habits that sometimes we don't often realize that certain things that have become habits are actually the reason you're not doing certain things in your life that you need to do that are so habitual and they're actually holding you back. And so I love there's two things. Awareness is like, okay, I know I shouldn't have the donut. I know I should work out. I know I should call more customers. I know I should wake up an hour earlier because I got 10 things to do and I only have time for eight. Well, then wake up a little earlier and get the 10 things done. Like we know what we need to do more times than not. But what about the times that it's such an unconscious level that there isn't that breakthrough? And that's what I call it transformational package that you offer one-on-one with people because I've seen the stories and the transformation has been a real thing with you and your clients that you work with. So talk to me about how do people know that they have something holding themselves back that maybe they just don't know where it is. I'm sure you've had that before where they don't realize, wow, this was holding me back. Do they discover that working with you?
Well, that's a perfect question. Thank you so much for asking it. For example, I recently worked with a fellow who he preps people for TED Talks, and his clients include massive corporations that everybody's familiar with. So he was already very successful, but he realized it was just more effort than he wanted or expected to close the deals. So he worked with me and just went back to the root, the cause, the reason. Where did it get ironed in there? What did he learn in childhood that limited him? And we've all got these patterns. We all have them. I mean, raise your hand if you had
Hmm.
perfect parents.
Right.
Nobody's hands go up. So even if you had great parents, there might have been a teacher that said something to you, stuff that happened to you at school. There's just always a story in there, and we can
Mhm.
all be more empowered by dropping that story, seeing it for what it is, because we claim an identity when that happens to us. I'm
Mhm.
not worthy, I'm not smart, I'm not capable, the answers aren't available to me. Whatever the story is, in our subconscious mind,
True.
below our level of awareness, it's still operating in the background. So if you're not taking advantage of the opportunities that are in front of you, if you're procrastinating, procrastination is a huge one. But if you're
Definitely.
not living up to your highest potential, and none of us are, there's always more to go in terms of our highest potential. Uh, just again, go back, find those patterns, and you can hear his testimonials on my website, along with many others. But typically, the person that comes to me, they realize that they're just just not, for example, my podcast manager, he is an extremely talented young man. He's authored 2 books, been on the History Channel, run for city council, and he's in his young early 20s.
Amazing.
The kid's amazing. But he realized one day, oh my gosh, I have a sense of unworthiness. He ran up against an issue in life, and he literally picked up the phone that day and he says, Tara, I know you can get this gone. I want it gone yesterday. Book me to be your next person. And
Amazing.
immediately he started sleeping better than he had slept in his entire life. He lost 70 pounds that he didn't want to be carrying around. And
I love it.
he made an extra $50,000 in his next quarter because he now was able to ask for what he was worthy of. And I don't know exactly what the outcomes are going to be. You asked me before we started,
Yes.
what areas of life does this tend to be helpful for? And I gotta say, I can't pigeonhole it because once you dump the backpack that you're carrying around that's invisible, or the invisible hooks, or the invisible walls, or the invisible weight that you're carrying around in
Yeah,
your
like
heart,
chains.
yeah. Once you dump that, then I don't know what the effects are going to be. Typically, I see better sleep, headaches and migraines go away, back pain goes away, pain can go away. I've had people that were allergic to all but 5 foods. And then all of a
Wow.
sudden, they were able to start introducing the foods again. I've had people with choking disorders, people that,
Wow.
yeah, crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff. And the emotional pain that comes with the stories from our past, even just thinking about, my story, I grew up, with, I don't know, my parents did the best that they could, and I definitely felt loved. So I don't want anyone, my sad story. But like we moved through so much, there was such inconsistencies, and there wasn't any stableness in that when I grew up. And then shortly after I got married, and was in an abusive marriage, and had the courage after 7 years to break free from that. And I didn't know, Dr. Perry, that I was maybe still holding on to some emotional pain. And I wrote my book, The More Mindset, that just came out actually. And I do kind of share things in this book that I didn't realize that I would never dealt with. And so it was almost therapeutic in a way. But then when I sat there, like rereading chapters, because I had wrote the book 2 years before it actually got picked up by a publisher. So once I was going through it again for the first time, and yes, it was like 3 intense months. Probably my posture wasn't the greatest. It was like morning, day, and night. I was like living and breathing these edits that I was doing, everything, rewriting things. Like, I don't want to say too much, and going through my own mini breakthroughs. And then that's actually when I met you and told you about my shoulder pain. It came out of like nowhere. I was like, what is this? I went to a chiropractor. I went to an acupuncturist. I went to, I mean, you name it. I went to everybody. I was ready to see a witch doctor. I didn't care. And I'm like, I'm in my 40s. What is this frozen shoulder crap that I'm being told that I have? And it was the weirdest thing. I mean, TMI, I couldn't even put my bra on. I'm like, what is happening? And so I had a session with you, and it was weird. Like, I coach people with so many things with the mindset, but it's almost like that hairdresser. Like, she's doing people's hair, but like she sits in a chair and she needs her hair done. And so I didn't realize that all that emotional baggage, I guess, that I never really dealt with because I didn't have time to deal with it as a single mom in real estate once upon a time, just running like Pac-Man. I didn't have a choice. I had to keep it moving. And yes, I was successful. And yes, maybe there's a lot of things I think anyone listening that you might have buried and you don't believe it's affecting you. But it is, and it can, and it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to feel hard. And so, me having just full transparency, a session with Dr. Perry, it changed a lot because after that, I was like feeling so much lighter. And I'm like, wow, there was emotional pain because I remember getting my book for the first time from Wiley, The More Mindset, and that felt like I just gave birth and I was finally able to like have closure in a way. It was weird. So I know this works. That's why I wanted you on my podcast because I want to make sure that anyone listening in that is dealing with something that that it doesn't have to be this way and that you can get help. And why not have Dr. Perry be the one to transform your life? And not to talk about money because this isn't, a sales pitch, but the package that she offers and the transformation that comes with that is so worth it. Like, I don't think she's charging enough based on the transformation that actually comes with that. And you can go to her website and check out real transformations she's had with real people. People think I have back pain, I'm going to go to the doctor, I have this, but it all starts emotionally. right?
Well, the emotions play a big role. I used to love Carolyn Mace's work. She talks about we all get 100 circuits of energy that come to us each and every day. And if you've got 50 circuits or 25 circuits or 70 circuits invested in bad things that happened yesterday, last year, in childhood, whatever, you don't have that energy available for healing.
Mm,
And one of the most common things that people say is, oh my gosh, I feel lighter. I feel more joy. I feel more bliss. I feel more peace. A lot of
mm,
people, the goal that they want is just to feel calm and peace because in their subconscious mind, they're still trying to please mommy or please daddy. And again, it's
yes,
and like you said, coaches need coaches, healers need healers. We all
totally.
are blind spots, and it just is so much faster to have somebody work with you so that you can quickly see those blind spots.
Absolutely. And going back, because I want people to just take away something that they can do right now. And when you silence your mind, I always talk about this. It could be in the middle of your day. You just take a moment to just take 3 deep breaths and just center yourself. You're doing a world of maintenance, I guess, for your mind. But even at night, when, even the recordings that you give, Dr. Perry, I need to buy something that is not connected to my phone. Although I could put it on airplane mode. So I put my phone on airplane mode every night. I don't have it, on. I'm really big with like what the technology and the radiation that emits. I don't care how big or small it is. It's just not good to be next to you. And so I found it really hard to like listen to this recording with my cell phone because even on airplane mode, I still get notifications. It's weird, but somehow it's not, I don't know. But getting like a device that doesn't have any Wi-Fi, nothing, and you just like listen to it. So talk to me about, or anyone listening, I want them to hear, why is it important to get to a quiet, relaxed state and then you impregnate all the good stuff? Why is that important? Because if you impregnate all the good stuff when you're like, I'm just here, gonna listen to this recording while I'm driving. Like, why is it important to silence yourself and be in a relaxed state? What does that do from a neuroplasticity perspective? Because this is what I talk about all the time. I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, if the amygdala and the hippocampus is activated, then the mid-prefrontal cortex is shut down and you don't get results. It's like the deer that's out off in the woods and when it sees it's eating and its digestion is functioning, its immune system is functioning, everything's all the healing mechanisms are working, but then it sees the wolf and then it's got to run and so the blood flow is going to go to the extremities, the heart's going to beat fast, it's aware of time, aware of the environment, it's looking for safety.
Mm,
That's not a space where healing is available because there's no time for that. If
mm,
your subconscious mind is living in that state, and most people are to some degree, some people to a huge degree, which is why we have a society that's, addicted to antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication.
yes,
Uh,
that's
but
so true.
but by turning that switch off or dialing it way back, I always say, look, if the alarm is going off in your house all the time, imagine if your fire alarm was going off all the time. Would you be able to sleep? Would you be able to digest your food? You'd be irritable. You wouldn't be able to work. Nothing would work right,
Nothing
and it
would
wouldn't
work
give
right.
you any information because it's not giving you accurate information. The fire alarm should be off,
Mm.
fully functional. So if you need it, it's there, but basically in the off position. That's where you want that sympathetic nervous system to be most of the time. So this work is about dialing that back again through the subconscious mind because the conscious mind can't do it. If it could have done it, it would have done it by now.
Would have done it by now. Very true. Oh my goodness, such good wisdom of, how to rewire your your brain. And you don't have to know that what exactly needs to be rewired. You just have to come and show up and want change. I think being open is a big key ingredient versus it's almost like that person that wants an alcoholic that goes to, I don't know, AA and like, I'm here, but I'm an alcoholic and I've always been an alcoholic and I'll always be an alcoholic. Then what are you doing here? You got to be ready to receive and you got to be open for change in the most beautiful way. And sometimes that uncertainty, people feel more comfortable, so they stay where it's comfortable because they're afraid of the unknown. But when you have that trust and that vision, like, I know life could be better, I know I can step into more. I think that that's where it starts. That's the first shift of like knowing that there's something better, that life doesn't have to be hard, that you can change your business around. You can start receiving more revenue for your business if there's like a mental block that you've decided in your mind long ago that you talked about limiting beliefs, like I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, I'm not this. But even some beliefs that aren't necessarily affecting you so negatively, but it is holding you back. It's keeping you stuck. So if I say I'm just, because I used to do this myself, I'm just a salesperson. I've been in sales my whole life. That's who I am. That's your identity. You're just a salesperson. Like, no, what more do you want to be? Do you want to be this? Do you want to be that? Do you want to be a speaker? Do you want to inspire others? Do you want, right? And sometimes we're so held on our identity. I'm just an engineer, but I want to do this business. I'm not a business-minded person. Well, why not? Could you become a business-minded person? No one's just born as a business mindset. No one's born as an engineer. No one's born as a Hollywood star. Whatever you want, there's a gap that needs to be bridged, right? And so that identity that I'm just this, I'm just a homemaker, I can't go back into the workforce. I've never done that before, but you can if you want to. Like that's possible. So that
Diana,
becomes people's
I,
identity.
I love what you're saying. There is such pure gold in what you're saying, and you said like three main things that I applaud you for bringing up. The identity thing, and you talk about somebody who's just a homemaker. When you can get that person to go back and realize where those feelings of limitation got ironed in,
Where they started, yeah.
and then get the subconscious mind to see all the things that really is entrepreneurial about what that homemaker is doing, what has been, creative, problem solving, all the skills and tools. When once the subconscious mind can see that it actually is very entrepreneurial and has whatever that mind believes are the skills for business, then they can start showing up as that. So that was beautiful what you said. The other thing that I love that you said is you don't have to know the way.
Mm.
The subconscious mind knows the answer. And I love to say, I don't have to figure it out and you don't have to figure it out. We just Google the subconscious mind. A pattern and a pathway will make itself apparent. And that's the audio that somebody listens to as they drift off to sleep that gets them from where they are to where they want to go.
I
So
love that.
it is not like regular therapy where you go to somebody and have them tell you, what's what in your life. This is about dropping in, finding out what got stuck in you, and then the way that mind wants to resolve the issue. It's not, I'm just a tour guide.
No, I love that. It is that. It is exactly that of don't worry about the way. Just know that you were meant for more. Know that you were meant for more. And what is that vision? So, that's where there's such tools to get people to where they want to be. And I love this so much. Where could people find you, Dr. Perry?
I just want to say one other thing about what
Yes,
you said.
please.
It's so great. The mind prefers an unfamiliar hell to an unfamiliar heaven. And you touched on that concept, which is also brilliant because people think, well, I should just be able to get what I want because I know the pathway there. But the brain is going to keep going back to what's familiar because it
Yes.
thinks that what's familiar is safe, even if what's familiar is horrible. So if you keep coming up with emotions, behaviors, things in your life that you're like, I should have resolved this by now. I should have
Mm.
figured this out by now. I have the tools, I have the skills, but I'm not making it happen. I used to feel like I had all the ingredients to the cake, but I just couldn't put the cake together.
Oh my gosh. No, that's a real thing. I mean, I've had, I think you touch on the stories and the identity that you assign. I've had people say, I'm just I've always been. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, if you've always been and you believe that you're, what do you think tomorrow's going to bring you? The same exact thing that you're telling yourself. And you talked about awareness and the things, as I always talk about our RAS system, our reticular activating system. And it is a little deep for some people that don't believe in the, not that they don't believe in the science, but maybe they haven't gotten in tune with from a neurological perspective, neuroplasticity. This is science. Every single one. This is not religion. I don't care what religion anyone is. This is what God gave each and every one of us is a brain, and a reticular activating system lives at the back of the bottom of our brain that are like antennas, and they notice things. And the only way that they're going to notice it is based on you and your level of thinking. If I believe that I attract good things that are for my greater good, then my antennas are up and then they're looking for things that are for my greater good. If I believe that I'm a person that always screws up, I can never get it right, I'll never get out of debt, I'll never open the business, then your antennas are like this, going down. They're not going to notice anything because you're saying that this is your belief, that you don't believe that you attract good things and that you're never going to do this and you're never going to do that. I've never been able to do that. My family, my teacher said that I wasn't athletic, so I never did sports, whatever it is. But that's the part, that's the bridge I want people hearing to understand that the what you tell yourself, the stories, the identity, the stories and the language become your identity, but those are your thoughts because belief is the anchor. What you don't always get what you want, but you always get what you believe to be
I love
true.
that. And I love the way you described it as an antenna. That's actually a perfect analogy because when you have the limiting beliefs, I screw up with money, I don't deserve it. And again, so many of these
Mm,
are most of them are below the level of your consciousness. So how do you solve them? You know,
right.
you need tools to bring that to awareness. So that those antennas can be up fully aware of what's
Yeah.
your surroundings are, and you can take advantage of the opportunities that are right in front of you. Because if those antennas go down, 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 the answer is literally right in front of you. I can't tell you how many people I've worked with where the solution to their problem was right in front of them, and
Right
they
in front
just
of them and they don't
couldn't see
see
it.
it. Couldn't see it because there's a conflict, there's a block. It's like putting, one car. I mean, I just had it with when I went to Arizona. My mom's car was dead because she doesn't drive anymore, but to do a jump start with the batteries in her car. And so I almost feel a little bit like that's what it is. You can have it right in front of you, but if you don't have the right alignment, right, the right flow, you can't jumpstart your brain, I guess. Maybe that was a little corny, but it's just the way to, because we all have good days and bad days. I could be like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to me. This happened to me last time. So, and then just spiral. We're humans. We're not robots. I mean, even robots, when they do finally have more of them out there, they're going to need to shut down. Our computers screw up sometimes. We all go through that. It's not about being perfect. It's just identifying when something doesn't serve you and that you have the power to choose something different. But then there's also deeper work. So, what are the last words you have for people listening in? And make sure you tell us where they can find you.
I am so pleased with how much somebody can change their life in a short amount of time. I used to love to do it with acupuncture and now helping people connect with their subconscious mind. I love to say that we stand on the shoulder of giants. There are so many great tools out there, but you really have to know which ones to access
True.
and which ones are really going to help you. So notice which ones are actually producing amazing effects for people and go with those. If people want to connect with me, they can go to consultterra.com or nashvillehealer.com. It'll get you to the same place. There's information on there. You just click the start here button and you can set up a time to have a 30-minute consult with me and see if this is a good fit for you. I love giving resources. So if I have other resources that are great for you, I'm more than happy to share those. Um,
Great.
and on my YouTube channel, I'm on Instagram. My podcast is Next Level Healing, and
Oh my
Dr. Tara
goodness.
Perry is how to find most of those.
I will make sure to put the links below. So make sure that you get in touch with Dr. Perry if you're interested in a free consult. I mean, that's amazing. That's not something she offers often. So take advantage of it while it lasts. It sounds corny like it's a commercial. Thank you, Dr. Perry. This was just an amazing conversation that we had about one of my favorite subjects and yours as well. And thank you for all that you do.
Well, I'm so glad we got to be friends, and you're amazing, and I love what you do as well, Diana.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That is all on the Make Things Happen podcast. Make sure that you subscribe and put a comment below. What are you now going to do differently? What is one thing that maybe resonated with you? And if not, maybe you have a story that you want to share. But definitely subscribe so that you don't miss any future episodes.